How important do you think is for the young coaches and managers who are going to be watching this that you do try and maintain self-discipline, and what can the impact be if that doesn't happen?
It's very important. I'm really big on timekeeping. It's one of my real bugbears. If people I like people to be punctual. But I think time management for me is I like to have an open door policy, so that I try and have time for people. The problem with if I'm not disciplined enough is I don't make time for myself, and so I've got to be fit to work. I can't afford to be exhausted, and so there has to be time that you have to make time for yourself. You have to make time to make sure that the priority list is dealt with, but that you're not dismissive of the people that you can't find time for. So again, these are the sort of soft skills we're talking about here. Now, I'm by no means a control freak, but I think you have to accept that there are some areas that you do have control over, and you have to be disciplined to allow yourself to recover. Is what I'm saying, and one of the things I think I've become pretty good at is delegating, and I get a lot of reward from seeing other members of staff enjoying their jobs as well. So I think it's to be able to delegate responsibility and share the successes and share the failures is very, very important. But there are times that I have to accept that I'm not at my best. And on those days, if you trust your staff enough, you can take yourself out of the situation, because it's not about, I don't like to have a negative influence around the place. So it's really important to understand yourself and know when it's appropriate to take yourself out of the equation sometimes. So, I suppose we're talking about your own well-being and your own understanding of what you are as a person as well.
It's really important. I think whatever job you do, whatever profession you happen to find yourself in, as is the next subject, Nigel, which is, if you're a manager in any business, you've got to manage upwards, and you certainly have worked for some interesting people. How important is that? Have you found that has been more important as you've gone on in your career?
I think it is in many ways more visible now, and I think it's more as certainly the English leagues have become more. They're not just English anymore. They are the leagues are populated with foreign players as well, foreign managers and coaches, foreign ownership as well. So there are various dynamics which I don't think we can put them all in one basket and say that's what it looks like. I've worked with sporting directors. I've worked with very closely with CEOs, technical directors, and had very good working and personal relationships with owners as well. I think one of the things is very, very important that there is, again, integrity with the communication. So, for instance, if I cast my mind back to working with King Power, both in Belgium and at Leicester, Susan Whelan, the CEO of Leicester, when I first went there, she was very helpful for me in terms of briefing me about Thai culture and the behavioural traits that are not necessarily expected, but are good manners and are respectful. And for me, that's all very important to try and understand what is best practice. And I don't mean that just so you can get brownie points. It's not like that. I have a genuine regard and respect for how the cultural differences need to be addressed. And I think that's a very, very important part of understanding the organisation that you work for, because especially at the top end now, whether it be in the Premier League or many of the Championship clubs, it's a product that goes beyond football. especially the Premier League is such a global product. You can't work just and say it is just, I'm only interested in football. It's not that. There has to be a depth of understanding of where you sit in the organisation, and regardless of how you've worked before somewhere else, to effectively work with the people in the setup that you're working in, the dynamics of how that works. You've got to there's got to be a bit of give and take, and you've got to quickly adapt to your surroundings. So I think that's something that I've got better with time. Again, how people perceive you is quite often nurtured by you yourself, or not nurtured, maybe developed by you yourself, but how you actually work in the reality of the workplace is often very, very different to how people would imagine it to be.